WR Podcast.
An opinion piece from the New York Post. President Joe Biden is fading the nation when it comes to the COVID leadership. Say what? What was that? Can't hear me. You're vaccinated. Everybody's vaccinated. Hold on. Fix that. You're vaccinated. What? Why wear this? Why wear this? Right? Why wear this? All right, this. Why wear this? Because you can't hear me, right? Oh, that's better.
Wow.
Now, where were we?
This is season 2 of the WR podcast. Let freedom ring. More insightful, more delightful, and more punk rock attitude. With your host, Will Ramos.
President Joe Biden entered the White House with a huge gift from his predecessor, COVID vaccines, produced in record time and being administered to Americans at rate of nearly 1 million shots a day. But rather than getting the nation over the finish line, the new president's leadership has proved a drag on process by feeding vaccine resistance. In particular, the Fed's sudden evidence ignoring 10-day suspension of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine did serious damage in terms of vaccine hesitancy. A Kaiser Family Foundation poll just found that 20% of unvaccinated adults changed their minds about getting jabbed because of the pause. Doubt was even stronger in some demographics. 39% of Hispanic women said the suspension changed their views. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration put the pause on J&J after learning of just 6 cases of serious blood clots among 7 million Americans who just gotten the jab. This wasn't science, but extremely risk-adverse bureaucrats ignoring the overwhelming benefits to the public for the remote fear that they might be criticized. President Donald Trump's critics said the approval of even a single vaccine by the end of 2020 would be a miracle, but Operation Warp Speed delivered 2 jabs with a third on the way, in good part because Team Trump sat on the bureaucrats to prevent such deadly foolishness. But Biden has other priorities. He couldn't even be bothered to try undoing the damage from the J&J pause. The day it was announced, April 13th, he gave 2 public addresses, one at the Congressional Tribute to a slain Capitol Police officer and one in the Oval Office, before his meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus members on a favorite subject, equity. When we took office, he said, I signed the executive order every single aspect of our government, including every agency has as a primary focus dealing with equity. Not a joke. During his campaign, Biden said his top priority would be the COVID crisis. Instead, it turned out to be a dangerous game of trying to institute equality of outcome. So if he really cared about equity, he'd focus on boosting confidence in and distribution of the vaccines. African Americans have been getting jabbed at far lower rates than whites. After Biden remarks, a reporter asked him about the J&J pause, giving him a chance to show leadership and calm the nation's nerves over the vax. That's what UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson did when the European Union panicked over a similar blood clot issue with the AstraZeneca's vaccine, urging all to heed the advice of the UK regulator, which rightly said the shot's benefit far outweighed the risks. The best thing of all is to vaccinate our population. Get everybody out of getting the jab, that's the key thing. And that's what I would advocate. Number 1, he declared. The fuck is this? In grim contrast, Biden punted, "My message to the American people on the vaccine is, I told you all, I made sure we have 600 million doses of the MR, not of either Johnson & Johnson and or AstraZeneca. So there's enough vaccine that is basically 100% unquestionable for every American, every single solitary American." The nation's top leader actually suggested that one of the FDA-approved vaccines was questionable. No wonder confidence in all the shots have dropped. But Biden fails on a larger scale with behavior that says this crisis will But Biden fails on a larger scale with behavior that says this crisis will last forever. Why? Well, a forever crisis justifies his bid to expand government permanently and lock in Democratic dominance. Sadly, that seems to matter more to this president than the health of the nation. So the leader of the free world has to stop with this pandemic as a crutch and stop using it as a mandatory, how you would say, excuse for everything. If he's vaccinated, give a positive message on the vaccines, because wearing these masks, being separated, and this, that, and the third is not showing confidence in the vaccines. So if the vaccines are here and herd immunity is practically here, then why act like the pandemic is still like a year ago? Just saying. We want our country back. We have to live. We have to believe in these vaccines, right? Okay, then. So, until next time.